everyone, nice to meet you. In this video, I want to talk about simple past and past continuous. I hope that you have watched my videos on simple present and present continuous. Okay, let's see the structure of simple past. Subject plus verb 2 and then subject did not plus verb 1. This is verb 1. So be careful with this. This is verb 2, but in negative and in question, because you have this auxiliary, you have to be back to the base form. Okay. Now, how about the uses of simple past? First, to express activity that occurred or existed in the past. It means that there is no relation to the present. I divide or I group the expressions of time into three. The first is with the point of time. The time expression that is used here, like yesterday, 2 days ago, last year, like that. Or you can have in 1914 and June 28, like that. Okay, the Great War began in 1914. Began, so this is in verb 2. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia due to the assassination of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914. So here the point of time that I use is 1914, June 28, 1914. Okay, and then the next is over a period of time. So period of time means that the time is longer than the point of time. So you can use when with simple past, of course, and then you can have for years, 4 months, 4 weeks, during the last holiday, during Christmas, or you can have from blah 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 to blah 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 blah. For example, from 1994 to 1945, from Sunday to Tuesday. Okay. Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand was killed when he and his wife Sophie traveled to Bosnia. So when, this is subject and then verb 2, because when he shows the time expression of the killing. The conflict among countries due to nationalism lasted 4 years. So it is not only 1 year, not only in 2019, for example, we have years. That's why this belongs to period of time. The next is the time is indicated by the context or situation. The Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Winston Churchill, led British to the victory of the Second World War. Without any time expression, we can understand that it should be past or it occurred in the past because we know the history about Winston Churchill. The Second World War killed millions of people. There is no time expression here, but we can still understand because we have the Second World War. Second World War, of course, everyone knows that the history of the Second World War that happened years ago or in 1942. So, mostly, time that is indicated by the context relates to history. But it is possible that it can be from our experience as far as you and I can understand. I mean, the one that you are talking to can understand. Okay, now the next is the second usage is to express past habitual action. Past habitual action means that the habit is or was in the past. You have learned in simple present that there is also habit, but present habit. It means that the habit is still done until now. So you can use the time expression for the habit, actually not the time expression, but shows the frequency, like always, twice a week, generally. But you must know that the past habit happened in the past, that is not done anymore now at present. So you can add with when blah 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 blah, or from 2000 until 2015. You can use the period of time. Okay, let's see the examples. People in this village used to live peacefully and harmoniously until the invaders came and controlled their life. So here I use used to. Used to is the expression showing the past habit. Without having the frequency or another time expression, we know that this is the past habit because of the word used to. The previous commander inspected the condition of his soldiers once a week. I use once a week, the frequency. Don't be confused. Why it is in simple past? Without having other time expression like when blah 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 or in 2015, we can know actually that this is simple past because we have the word previous. Means that it is the commander who was in charge before the commander that is in charge now. But if you want to emphasize that this is in the past, you can have the previous commander inspected the condition of his soldier once a week when he was in charge. It's up to you. It is okay. Okay, the next is past continuous. Let's see the structure. Subject plus was verb plus verb 1 plus ing. Was, verb, and then verb 1 ing. I hope that you still remember about present continuous or present perfect continuous or present future continuous. In all continuous tenses, the verb is in present participle, verb 1 ing. So, how to differentiate the tense? Of course, with the to be. In present continuous, the to be is and are, the present form. But in past continuous, we have was and were. So this is the past form of to be. Then we have not here for the negative and inverted here was, were plus subject plus verb 1 ing for the question. Okay, what is the use of when we use the past continuous? The first is when we want to express activity that was in progress at a time when another activity interrupted it. When the bombers attacked the barracks, the soldiers were having a rest after a long day fighting. So the past continuous shows the one that was in progress, that the one that was ongoing. The soldiers were having a rest. The soldiers were having a rest is the action, the ongoing action. In the middle of that, there was another activity that interrupted it, the attack of the dive bombers. I use when here, but in the second I use while. Is that different? Actually, the meaning is the same. Let's see. While the soldiers were walking into the barracks, their enemies appeared at a sudden and attacked them. The meaning is still the same. There was an activity interrupted the action that was ongoing. Which one? The enemies appeared at a sudden. This is the activity that interrupted the activity of walking. That's why this is the continuous one. This is the ongoing action. Why this is when and this is while? Don't be confused actually. For the action that came in the middle or activity that interrupted, the other ongoing action, it should be in simple past. And then for the ongoing activity, must be in past continuous. So they are the same actually, but I use when here to show the activity that interrupted, and then while to show that it was in progress. Okay, I hope that you are not confused with that. But the most important is, I hope that you still remember the function of when as the time expression in simple past. In simple past, in the previous slide, I told you that the function of when is to show the time of the past activity. But here, with past continuous, when shows that it is or it was an activity which interrupted the ongoing action. There is a difference about that, so be careful with this. Okay. Next, the use of past continuous. The second is to express two activities that were happening at the same time. Two activities were happening at the same time simultaneously. While the historians were searching for the ruins of the Lost Kingdom, some people were destroying the site. So there are two activities here. The historians were searching and some people were destroying, and both are happening in the same time. That's why both are in continuous. And then the next is to emphasize the continuity or the progress of an activity in the past. The continuity. You can use for the time signal or the time expression, you can use the time expression of the time expression that we use in simple past, like yesterday, this morning, or at 5 o'clock, like that. But of course, why we use continuous? Because we want to emphasize the continuity. So let's see the example. Was the commander describing the situation and explaining the plan with the general this morning? We couldn't find him in the barracks. We were looking for him this morning. So what was he doing? He was describing, he was talking with the general. So the continuity, the progress is important. We want to emphasize the progress. That's why we can use the time expression that is the same as simple past. But why we use past continuous? Because we want to emphasize on the progress or the ongoing action. Okay, the next is to express activity that was repeatedly and frequently happened. To express activity that was repeatedly and frequently done. Sorry, it seems that there is one word that I missed one word. So to express activity that was repeatedly and frequently done, mostly as a source of irritation. He was always telling his victory during the war. All the people knew that it wasn't him who led the army. So, telling his victory again and again makes others annoyed or irritated. If you think that it is irritating, what he was doing is irritating, you can use the continuous. Or what he did is irritating, you can use past continuous. Just to emphasize on the repetition, irritating repetition. Okay. The next is to show development, growth, or other change over time. Other changes or other change over time. The war was becoming more and more intense and killed a lot of civilians. The war was becoming more and more intense. So this is the development, the change over the time. You can have like this, the tree was growing bigger, taller and taller. and bigger and bigger. Yeah, you can use this expression more and more intense, just to show or to emphasize the change over time, the development. So you can use the continuous one. Okay, I think that I hope that my explanation can help you to understand the different use of simple past and past continuous. The most important is understanding. If you understand the use, when we use simple past and past continuous, I'm sure that your sentence will be meaningful and everyone can understand what you are talking about. Okay, thank you.